The Devil's Staircases, timing of large earthquakes, follow mathematical patterns. Seismological Society of America reports this. At the regional level and worldwide, the occurrence of large, shallow earthquakes appears to follow a mathematical pattern called the Devil's Staircase, where clusters of earthquake events are separated by long but irregular intervals of seismic quiet. The finding published in the Bulletin Seismological Society of America differs from the pattern predicted by classical earthquakes modeling that suggests earthquakes would occur periodically or quasi-periodically based on cycles of built-up and release of tectonic stress. In fact, says Yuxuan Chen, University of Missouri, Columbia, and colleagues, periodic large earthquake sequences are relatively rare. The researchers note that the results could have implications for seismic hazard assessment. For instance, they found that these large earthquake sequences, those with events magnitude 6 or greater, are burstier than expected, meaning that the clustering of earthquakes in time results in a higher probability of repeating seismic events soon after a large earthquake. The irregular gap between event bursts also makes it more difficult to predict an average recurrence time between big earthquakes. Seismologist catalogs for large earthquakes in a region might include too few earthquakes over too short a time to capture a whole staircase pattern, making it difficult to know whether the few events in the catalog occurred within an earthquake cluster or spanned both clusters in quiescent intervals, Chen and colleagues noted. For this same reason, we need to be cautious when assessing an event is overdue just because the time measured from the previous event has passed some mean recurrence time based on an incomplete catalog, they said. The Devil's Staircase, sometimes called the Cantor function, is a fractal demonstration by nonlinear dynamic systems in which a change in any part could affect the behavior of the whole system. In nature, the pattern can be found in sedimentation sequences, changes in uplift and erosion rates, and reversals in Earth's magnetic field, among other examples. Chen's PhD advisor, Mian Liu, had an unusual introduction to the Devil's Staircase. He said, "I stumbled into this topic a few years ago when I read about two UCLA researchers' study of the temporal pattern of a notorious serial killer, Andrei Chikatilo, who did away with at least 52 people from 1979 to 1990 in the former Soviet Union," he said. "The time pattern of this is this Devil's Staircase. The researchers were trying to understand how the criminal mind worked, how neurons stimulate each other in the brain." He said, "I was intrigued because I realized that earthquakes work in a similar way, that a fault rupture could stimulate activity in other faults by stress transfer. Conceptually, we also know that many large earthquakes, which involve rupture of multiple and variable fault segments in each rupture, violate the basic assumptions of periodic earthquakes model, which is based on repeated accumulation and release of energy on a given fault plane," Liu said. "The factors controlling the clustered events are complex and could involve a stress that stimulates an earthquake, changes in frictional properties, and stress transfer between faults or fault segments during a rupture, among other factors," said Gang Liu of Wuhan University in China. He noted that the intervals appear to be inversely related to the background tectonic strain rate for a region. The Devil's Staircase pattern can be found in large earthquakes in the Great Basin of the U.S. West, in Australia, on the African-Eurasian plate boundary, off the coast of western Algeria, along the Dead Sea Transform Fault, and potentially in the New Madrid seismic zone of central U.S., said Liu, noting that the specific details of the pattern vary from region to region. And this is on SciTech Daily by Seismological Society of America. Very interesting. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.